And while I had my time there resting and recovering, I got a lot of awesome things to help me sleep real well. And while I was sleeping, I had the best dreaming experience that I've ever had before. And while I was dreaming, I dreamed a dream that was so impactful that it was Genshin Impact. And I dreamed of a 5-star support DPS, main DPS possibility for the Geo Element. A 5-star character named Chiori. A sword user who aesthetically dual-wielded swords and could possibly be the character that was just right for you. If you're looking for a sub DPS slash main DPS 5-star hyper carry, this could potentially be the character for you. Now, Chiori comes with Ascension scaling stat in my dream as crit rate. That's right, 19.2% additional crit rate on top of the 5% base, 24.2% crit rate at level 90. Now, what does Chiori do in my dream? Just like every other character, she's got some forgettable normal attacks and charge attacks. Fairly forgettable. Perform some rapid strikes, scale off attack, nothing crazy there. But then we move into the elemental skill, and this will make more sense as we get to her Ascension Awakening passives and some of her constellations. Her elemental skill has a very lengthy cooldown, about like 16 seconds or so. And what it does is it does a couple of things. Now, when you activate it, you're gonna dash forward in like dance-like formation. And after your dance-like formation ends, you're gonna summon a little doll, a little Geo doll. And it's gonna do an upward thrust and do AoE Geo damage based on both of Chiori's attack as well as her defense. Both. So she's an attack and defense scaler. Nothing like Noelle, who converts defense to attack. Nothing like Arataki Ito, who converts defense to attack. Not exactly in the same way. It's a split modifier. And this modifier is pretty decent. The defense modifier is usually a little bit higher than the attack modifier. For instance, like level 1, this would have 102% of your defense and 82% of your attack, something like that. And it would scale up accordingly. All the way up to 10 it'd be like 184% of your defense and like 150% of your attack. And this doll would last for 17 seconds. Now, instead of just pressing it, you can also hold it, where you can aim it in a direction. You can throw it up in the air like ka-ching because you have swords, right? It seems like it'd be a cool thing. And this little doll that you summon will slash at nearby opponents, do some AoE Geo damage based off your attack and defense as well. And then if you activate your elemental skill and summon this doll, if you have a Geo construct somewhere nearby, right? Like Zhongli's Pillar, Albedo's Flower, you'll summon a second doll. So in a 16-second cooldown, you'll get 2 dolls that last for 17 seconds. That will do AoE Geo damage about every 3.5 seconds. Now the elemental burst is gonna be very plain, just a nuke. We've seen this before. We've seen it on characters like Riesli. And it's going to do a large amount of damage based on both her attack as well as her defense. 15-ish second cooldown, so 1 second shorter than her elemental skill, meaning you can elemental skill, use your burst, and swap off. You're able to do that if you so desire. And you'll be able to hit for quite a large amount of damage. Like talent level 10, we're talking about adding the attack and the defense multipliers together, almost like 1,500 total multiplier. Maybe like 1,400 multiplier. Something big like that at a 60 energy cost. So far, we have a pretty basic kit. Our normal attacks suck. We can summon some things, do off-field damage. Kind of sounds like shitty Albedo 2.0. That actually gets better if you have Albedo because the flower is a Geo construct. So you'll summon 2 dolls and have the Geo flower. Super cool. Or the Zhongli Pill. First is kind of lackluster. Now, first Ascension allows you to gain a different mode, 2 different modes. Tapestry mode, we'll call it, or like the tailoring. This is going to be dependent on what button you push after you use your elemental skill. So if you activate your elemental skill and then hit the elemental skill button again, it's going to automatically swap you out of combat. And then it's going to give a special buff called Seize the Moment to your next active party member, which is pretty unique because it doesn't let you swap to whatever character you want. It swaps to the next character in your roster. So if she's in slot 3, it'll swap to slot 4 and only ever swap to slot 4. And this character is going to get this buff that buffs up their normal attacks, their charge attacks, and their plunging attacks by allowing your doll to do a coordinated attack as upward thrusting damage on that location, as elemental skill damage as well. and you'll be able to get a couple of these coordinated attacks after Tapestry mode is activated. This is going to allow your dolls to do more damage, allow you to have more support DPS off the field, because they're going to be pulsing for damage as well, and then you're going to be adding this coordinated attack to your new active character. The other thing you can do is use a tailoring mode, which is activated by using your normal attack actor. And then the other mode's tailoring mode, which is your like main DPS mode. You want Chiori to do damage as well. This is gonna give you 5 seconds, 5 whole seconds of Geo Infusion on a 16-second cooldown skill. So you can either swap off and get some extra coordinated attacks, or you can give yourself 5 seconds of Geo Infusion on your Chiori. The second Ascension passive is going to buff up Chiori's damage, her Geo Elemental bonus damage, anytime a nearby party member creates a Geo Construct. Every Geo Construct is going to be 20% Geo damage bonus for 20 seconds. And as far as my dream was, there was no cap to this. There could be a cap, but it is on creation of a Geo Construct. And I forget right now if you can create a new Geo Construct if you hit the Geo Construct cap and have it destroy your oldest one and still summon a new one. If so, you could theoretically summon as many different Geo Constructs as you wanted to and get this damage bonus up to 60, 80, 100%. You would use this by summoning a bunch of Geo Constructs. Hopefully your dolls count as Geo Constructs too. Maybe they don't. Who knows? It'd be kind of shitty if they didn't. And then Geo Infuse yourself for 5 seconds to get a bunch of bonus damage off this Talent Ascension passive. Now at Constellation 0, that is exactly what I dreamed about. It's just what Geo's good at. Being boring. Just being boring as all dog water, right? Do you like attack defense scaling characters like Noelle and Arataki Ito? Here they are, but in sword form. They don't heal like Noelle or shield like Noelle. They don't do as much upfront damage and hyper carry potential as someone like Arataki Ito or even Noelle. They do offer off-field damage though. They do offer off-field damage, kind of like Albedo, with the dolls and the summons and the coordinated attacks. They have an upfront nuke, which is pretty garbage, and they're a sword user, not a claymore character, so if you have all the cool claymores that scale off defense, like Redhorn Stone Thresher or Serpent Spine or something, you can't use them on her. You're gonna probably need to get her own unique event weapon. Well, not event weapon, her own unique weapon, which is gonna, give you bonus defense like Redhorn Stone Thresher, and then either buff your attacks that are normal attacks and charge attacks and plunging attacks while you're on field, or if you're off the field, it'll bump up, you've guessed it, your elemental skill damage. Now, is this gonna be the end-all be-all for Geo after we saw someone like Navia get added, who, while didn't really do anything for the element, was at least a new way to play with Geo characters, have a Geo character that can somewhat play with other elements? And I'm glad to see that after a character who didn't really change Geo as an element for the better or at all with Navia, we've gone right back to our roots with Geo characters doing the same thing they've always done. Do some Geo damage, maybe on the field, maybe off the field, maybe scale with some attack, maybe scale with some defense. Anything useful outside of that? Absolutely not. I'm so glad to be a Geo main.